Well, using DM has benefited the practice in so many ways. The patients really love it, and we have lots of feedback from our patient surveys about that. During COVID, it was a lifesaver because when we were in lockdown, and we were really lucky in Queensland compared to other places, but we could still keep an eye on what the patients were up to. That was just unbelievably a lifesaver. We also can use it then for trying to save appointments for both the patient and for us into the practice. So we only see the patients when we need to. But we got more communication with the patients because we're looking at their scans every week. So my dental monitoring onboarding process starts at the new patient appointment. So we talk about dental monitoring at the new patient appointment because if they're going to go into OBS monitoring, then they need to know how to scan. We'll set that up then and there, which is really easy when they actually start treatment because I already know what they're doing. If they're going into treatment start then and they're a long way away from the practice, we'll often onboard them at the new patient appointment and then pause our DM until they actually start. That way it makes the start appointment easy, and if we're going to send out, say, their aligners to them, for a virtual start, they have everything they need and they're good to go. We can just talk them through that on the phone. Normally though, say you're getting braces on today and we're going to start your DM today, then at the end of our appointment to do that, one of the staff members will just sit there and they'll just get them to do a scan and just go through it and set them up then and there. It doesn't take very long, but it's important to get that first scan right, and that's what we spend the time doing it then. So my processes have changed since implementing dental monitoring greatly. So prior to dental monitoring, I can't even hardly remember that because it was so long ago, but we modify our processes all the time as we modify what's happening with our protocols and when we want to see them and when the messages are going out. So my idea with DM is that it's not a set and forget thing. It's something that's constantly evolving, and it's a really dynamic process. And I'm really involved in that to make sure we're getting the most out of it for the patients and for the practice. DM affects my clinical schedule now in a really positive way because it doesn't look as crazy as it used to look. Our schedule now just works really nicely. We have very, very few surprises come in. So our unanticipated appointments are almost negligible because we know what's happening when they come in. And that means that the surgery staff are set up and ready to go. And it means that we just have a really pleasant day most days. Patient compliance, I feel, is much greater with dental monitoring, and we know that people will modify their behaviour via the Hawthorne effect when they're being watched. So also in our recent survey, we know that 83% of the patients are highly involved and compliant in their treatment as a result of that, and they feel more involved and compliant in their process as well. How do we adapt our practice to today's patients' expectations? I think the question needs to be, how do I get the patients to adapt to my expectations? So I've got high standards in what they need to do in the practice, and I think we do need to meet their expectations about being technologically savvy, using digital technologies when we can, and all those things. And dental monitoring meets all of those criteria. But I think the important thing is that we're not educating the patients about what's expected of them, then they're educating us and they're modifying what we do. So our standards shouldn't slip as a result of it. If anything, they should be higher. And I think DM actually gets us to do that and gets the patients to be on board with doing that via the use of their digital tech. Actually surveyed the patients recently about dental monitoring to get some feedback for them. Like 88% of them pretty much love the experience and love the involvement that they have in there. The only negative feedback we've had from them really is that scanning can be difficult, and so as a result of that, we make sure that we do the first scan in the clinic with them so that they actually have the hang of that and we can, troubleshoot any problems before they leave. If we can't get them to scan, because sometimes we do a virtual start, then we'll get them to come in and make sure they've got that nailed down as soon as we can. Other than that, the patients really like the fact they don't have to come in as frequently for appointments. They like the communication and the ease of it via the messaging back and forth, and I know that they say that they feel more involved in treatment, and I think that's really important because they're owning that process better. So dental monitoring helped the practice during COVID immensely because we were able to stay in touch with the patients during that process with their weekly scans. Luckily, we'd actually rolled this out to all of our patients, unless the people truly didn't have a phone and didn't have the internet, so that it made it really easy. I wasn't trying to onboard patients remotely just to keep an eye on their treatment. So I think not having a dental monitoring coordinator should not be a reason to not use dental monitoring. Everyone in my practice actually knows all of the aspects of dental monitoring so that anybody can do a start with a patient. Anyone should be able to troubleshoot. If there's a particular problem, then we can always go to the support staff for that. If you've got a big practice, so I'm just a single operator, but a big practice, I think you do need a DMC, someone senior in the staff that the other staff can go to be able to do it. But I think it's a dangerous thing to have with just one person that knows how to do all of this. Everybody should know everything about DM. It's an important part of it so that it's across every aspect of what we do in the practice. Clearly, I feel good about that. So using digital and AI-powered tools, I think, is an essential part of any modern practice. We use that in almost every aspect of life. My vacuum cleaner uses AI to know where it goes all over the floor. Why would I not use that in my clinical practice? So do I want to return to how things were before dental monitoring? Absolutely not. It's just made my life so much better.